Jam, Jam, SW. The homework, Queen Mecca, you got a comment through. Comments on, you can type it right here. True self. Lies you. Wait, you got 76 men listed in the lessons. Not proper names, but referenced. Okay, either your number is extremely high or extremely low. One or the other. So let's start off with this. Let's start off with this list right here that you're speaking on. Knowledge. Yeah, that you're speaking on. So you got knowledge as a referenced man. I'm missing what you're saying somewhere down the line. Yeah, but see, now this is why I said that your number is either extremely high or extremely low. Because see, if we're going to go by that, right, then don't we have to count the 4,800,000,000 people that's in the third and the fourth degree? Not that I agree with you, but just saying, wouldn't you have to do that? Going by this logic that you're using right here. Or is it me? Everybody definitely got to do the each one teach one. Hit the like button and share this on your Facebook and your Twitter, because especially when I don't come on at my regularly scheduled time, I don't get a lot of love from the powers that be over at the Facebook headquarters. Yeah, but if that's the case, then isn't knowledge accounted for in the original man? Real hip hop. Yo, I did some crazy stuff today and locked myself out. That's a whole other long story. So I'm really just getting back in the pocket right now. I'm really just getting back in the pocket right now to do my thing. The green one. You counted it separately as a separate reference. Like I said, man, your number is either extremely high or extremely low. I'm not sure, how you came to the methodology of doing it in the way that you did it. But see, if you're going to count the way you count it, right, it's either extremely low, either you off by 4,700,999,926, or you over by 73. Because if you counting the way this is what I'm saying. This is look. That's one way of looking at it. Why did you leave out the 4,800,000,000 people in the degrees? Another way of looking at it, the way you counting, is it only tells you about 3 people in there. Tells you about the original man, the colored man, and the half original man. Real hip hop. What do you consider high science? We going to get into about as high science as you could as you could deal with. What's the highest science you can deal with? No. You said original man, colored man, half original man. Musa is a half original man. Yaqub is an original man, right? Muhammad, you know, I guess the jury's out. Some people say this, some people say that. Jesus is an original man. Christ is not in the lessons. The wise man from the east is the original man. The S-U-N of man is the original man. The S-O-N of man is the half original man. And out of all these people that you naming, they all fit in to who's the original man or who's the colored man. See, first of all, listen, you know, because I don't want to hit you with a trick question, but why you think that's the first two things it tells you? Who's the original man and who's the colored man? Because all the people that they fit, all the people in the lessons is going to fit in one of those two. Or they going to be a mixture thereof. But what I'm wondering is how did you reach this conclusion? Oh, actually, you're right. I was wrong. It does say Christ. 2000 BC means before Christ. But this is what I'm saying. How did you skip to this methodology that you're using right now? Because see, yesterday you asked about specific people, and now you're using kind of ideas of people as people. God Cypher Divine, you know, God Cypher Divine, you know, we had a discussion yesterday. I said I was waiting for you to come in because I got to run something past you. Now, let me see if I got this right now. The Hebrews, right, is the 12 tribes. But the Jews is only Judah and Benjamin. Is that correct? Jammy Jam, I'm still waiting to hear how you move from the specific people to these kind of ideas of people. See, I don't know if I was clear when I made the assignment, but the assignment was based on what you said, speaking on and then based on that, then I said, okay, that's a good homework for you to look at all the people that's named, not referred to, named in 120. Okay, so Judah, Benjamin, and parts of Levi, right? Okay, now here's the are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? But look. Now here's the question, God Cypher Divine, right? Who's the Israelites now? we got that part down pat. Who's the Hebrews and who's the Jews? Now, who's the Israelites? How did this come up? Oh, we were speaking on the Jews that they speak on in the name. But I'm saying, what does anyone whose name is knowledge, right? What did they do in 120 lessons? No, supreme mathematics is supreme alphabet, is supreme mathematics, and supreme alphabet. 120 is from the knowledge degree in the 1 to 10 to the born degree in the solar facts. The quality of the feed is too high. I don't know how to change it. So the Israelites would be identified by the works they do or their agreed geographical location, not an exact science. So there are no real Israelites there. We got the wordsmith that came in. You said the Israelite is defined by the works they do, so is the Israelites the righteous? Were the people Musa civilized Hebrews or Israelites? Well, we coming to the what's the name of Israelites right now. But I'm gonna tell you something that I realized that I've been knowing about what God's Cyber Divine is talking about, but I never looked at it in terms of those terminologies in particular, like some being Hebrews and some being Jews. But I did know that only 2 tribes really worship Judaism. And the reason how I know that is from Musa's history. Is that when they telling you that when Musa went on Mount Sinai and the people built the idols, right, of the golden bull or the golden calf or whatever it was, right, those people was the other tribes of Israel who didn't worship Yahweh. Those golden calves and golden bulls, that represented El and Baal, which was the gods that those other 10 tribes, or I guess as God's Cyber Divine is saying now, those other 9.5 tribes was worshiping El and Baal. So I did actually know that, but I didn't know that that's how you identify them as these people are Jews and these people are Hebrew. Then the Israelite is somebody who you saying follows the customs. You see, Jammy Jam, what you do sometimes, right? In your, you being thorough, right? But what you doing is, you trying to include, everything that's supposed to be included. But what you end up doing is erasing the lines. You end up erasing the lines of why something is different. See, first of all, why is certain people named in the lessons? Islam said the so-called Israelites were just another group of Canaanites before making Yahweh their supreme deity. God Sabbath said that's where the Semitic term comes from, Baal or Baal. Okay, you said, so the customs that the people follow. So Israelite is a little more, so Israelite is basically is dealing with just kind of like the nation state of Israel to a certain degree. Like how old is the term Israelite? Real Hip Hop said the names are included for historical context. Jammy Jam for us to learn from the truth in the story. Can anyone else help these two out in reference to why are certain names included in the lessons? Oh man, Queen Mecca, what happened? What are you doing on YouTube, Queen Mecca? Whatever you doing, man, I gotta stay away from that. They don't even let Queen Mecca talk on here. You see what y'all deal with, Asiatic mathematics. He's been on it. He's been going in. See, that's a likely story, Queen Mecca. You don't know what you was doing. You're doing the knowledge God, huh? So God said, Divine said, all Israelites were not Canaanites. So who was the rest of them? Queen Mecca claims to be a lioness. She's a lioness, not a liar. Where are the other Israelites from? Now, I'm not saying you're not real. I'm just asking, what are you doing on YouTube that makes them, like, you gotta appeal or something? SW stupid. SW said the other Israelites come from 125th Street. Oh man. Canaan was the land encompassing Israel, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan. See, I got a little because you saying Ethiopia and you saying Israel, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan. So what's the phenomenon with that? I have you, Queen Mecca. Here at Random Jewels, we got it's because it's the new moon. It's because it's the new moon. You curious? Yeah, Asiatic God mathematics is yeah, I was going to get into the names and the lessons. I I was trying to get to the bottom of this thing with the Israelites. Some of these what's the names ain't coming. I see God Cyber Divine got a comment. But for whatever reason it don't come up over there. But it says Judites, so-called Negroes, Gadites, so-called Native Americans, Levites, so-called Haitians, Benjamins, so-called Jamaicans, so on and so forth. All right, you lost me a little bit there. What's you saying? Yeah, I think you've been nominated. We could take a vote. We could take a vote right now, Queen Mecca. Right now, give a thumbs up. Or no, I don't know if everybody got thumbs up. Look, press 1. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not buffering. I'm not buffering right now, right? Am I buffering? Press 1 if you're voting for Queen Mecca as the queen of the Random Jewels channel. See, Queen Mecca, you got more likes than me. You got more likes than me, Queen Mecca. I might have to feel some kind of way about that. We got a law will manifest. You already know what I'm getting ready to ask you. You already know I'm getting ready to ask you a law will manifest. And we got Wise You. Wise You is in the room. So you can't get one over on me right now. Ah, man, Queen Mecca. You see that what he put? You might get 666 likes. I don't know if that's that new stuff. Yeah, no, I don't get down like that. So are we? Because I'm still not clear on who's the Israelites. But how old? Where's the wordsmith? Uh, the wordsmith. We need a birth record on the term Israelite. And also, God Cyber Divine, like I said, the question that this came from, are they talking about the original man or the colored man? You know, from that Israelite perspective, I'm saying. Islami said, were the Israelites a righteous nation or were they other than righteous? See, from the outside looking in, it's one of them things where, look, they all look alike to me. Israelite is an English word. Okay, so Israelite can't be more than 300 years old then. If you ask a Hebrew dude right now, he would say that you are Israelite, born you truth, just don't know it. 4th degree and 1 to 36, he doesn't know he's my uncle. So, I mean, yeah, but I thought they would say that I'm Hebrew. So wait, is this something, because I noticed that when they refer to women, they always say a Hebrew woman. They say a Hebrew woman. So wait, is Hebrew women and Israelite men? What's going on with that? I think we need to refer to Mean Gene. Shout out to Mean Gene. I need to go on Mean Gene's channel. SW, next time you over there and they speaking, cause he got that co-host now. She Hebrew. And the Hebrews is on. We gotta ask him about that. Israelite is from the mid-14th century, a Jew, one of the people of ancient Israel, the descendant of Israel or Jacob, from Latin Israelita, from Greek Israelites, from Israel. The Middle English adjective Israelish, Israelitic, so they say Israelite men and Israelite women. So, okay, so is there differences? Because what I noticed is that you kind of got different schools of Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, when I'm watching Mean Gene, it looks like Tazariot is from a different temple than Hashar. Or, sometimes you even look at their clothes, and certain brothers, they dressed a little bit differently. I mean, who would have thunk it, man? This Israelite thing is more complex than I thought. Nah, it's not the dudes. I don't build with them really, but I just hear, like different times they'll say, you know, uh, a brother needs a good Hebrew woman. True Self said in early history, Israelites were simply members of the 12 tribes of Israel. Were there vowels when Israelite when Israel was formed? Judah TV don't know who Mean Gene is. Mean Gene Wokelet. True Self is saying the Israelites were known as Israelites to distinguish them from the southern kingdom of Judah. All right, now, this is what I'm saying. This is when the thing gets complicated. See, I told y'all, me, I try to break things down. Now, God Cyber Divine was saying that what you just identified as an Israelite, right, who is in the other 10 tribes, right? Because the southern kingdom, those are the ones who worship Judaism, and the other kingdom is the ones that didn't. Now he's saying, so what you're saying is they all Hebrews, right? The Jews is the ones from the southern kingdom, and the Israelites is the ones from the northern kingdom. Did I get that correct? Jeweler TV. No, Mean Gene. Well, not to my knowledge, Mean Gene never wrestled. It says here, being an Israelite only means something to a Bible believer. Other than that, I don't see why anyone want to claim being a Jew like it's something to be proud of. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I mean, is there like a solid kind of understanding? Like even amongst, Jews, Israelites, Hebrews, is there a common understanding amongst them as to who's who? But yeah, getting back to that topic, Jamie Jam said the names are like characters to communicate ideas. It's somebody's knowledge and wisdom for us to gain understanding, and then that understanding becomes our knowledge to activate. See, the reason why some people is named in 120 lessons is because they had an impact on history. Everybody that's named in the L brothers. Now, I don't know about the L brothers. You talking about wrestlers? But those are people that brought about the changes that's in the lessons. See, some of the people you identifying, they're just kind of objects. They're not really the subject. They're not really the person. Musa is there because he brought about a great change. Yaqub is named in the lessons because he brought about a great change. W.F. Muhammad is named in the lessons because he brought about a great change. Now, when you saying the Son of Man, this is where sometimes you might be confusing yourself. And this is because you don't know 120. When it tells you the Son of Man came to our aid by the name of our prophet W.D. Fard. So when you put Fard and the Son of Man, you're talking about the same person. So like I said, when you say just the name knowledge, oh, there's different people whose name knowledge in the nation, but did they have an impact on any of the history and the stories that we mentioned, that's mentioned in the lessons? The people who lived out the ideas that was manifested from, that was predicted in the year 1. See, because right now, look, you know, between Yaqub and Musa, right, it had to be people. If Yaqub only existed to be 150 years old, and it took 600 years to make a devil, right? Then who took over at that time? Who took over 150 years in, right? Who took over 150 years in and made sure the ship went right? But all of them was still living out that particular thought that was predicted in the year 1. The people who came to make those changes, those are the people that's named. You see what I'm saying? And knowing the history of those people and knowing about those people and what they was about will lead you to understand it in 120. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, people come from people. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but what I mean by that, right, is that, you know, the condition of the people is what gives rise, like, you know, the condition of the people, the condition of you growing up in the 1920s and the 1930s, right? The 1940s in the wilderness of North America led a lot of brothers to become civil rights, you know, from Allah to Malcolm to Martin, etc., etc. It's something about that experience that gave rise to the people who existed at that time and brought about the change that they brought about. But these specific people is the ones that activated a level of change. So like I said, knowing that person's history, knowing the condition that that person came from, knowing the people that that person came from, you understand what I'm saying, will lead you to greater understanding. Just like, you know, when you deal with the whole, even when you go into the Quran, if you deal with Muhammad, you know, knowing about the Quraysh tribe, knowing about the certain customs and everything that existed amongst those people that gave rise to Muhammad to come and manifest what he manifested on, will lead you to a greater understanding. But like I said, when it says who is the original man, how you know we talking about you? This is, listen, I don't know what they've been feeding Asiatic mathematics, but he's unstoppable right now. God Savvy said the Jews or the tribe of Judah was depicted as God's chosen people, so we are the gods. And the Judites were openly saying they are the children of God, even though they worship that they know not what. Who might not know, but you know what, Jammy Jam? There we go. Side rally is beginning. And ooh, 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 yeah. Somebody's asked, Allah will manifest with degrees He knowledges. The hatch to the rabbit hole has been opened. Let's see how low it can go. He said he's stretching, about to sprint through the rest of the 1 and 14. And where was we at before Wise U? Because Wise U keeps track of this kind of thing. No. Okay, you, because you mixing this all up. You saying you know you included in the knowledge degree, right? Okay, who else is included in the knowledge degree? In real hip hop, we still waiting on this high science you're gonna tell us about. You're supposed to be letting us know about this high science that you could build on, or however it works. The knowledge and wisdom of the planet Earth, black, brown, yellow, Asiatic peoples. Okay, when were these peoples born? And where? No, no, no. You talking about specific people, or you talking about peoples? So you gotta know what you talking about when you ask a question in order to get an answer. See, because when you said why is Yaqub, you know, Yaqub was born in 8,367. So when you start comparing people that have a birth record with people that don't have a birth record, I asked the question. I know what I'm talking about. But I'm saying when you ask a question about Yaqub and why is he referred to as the original man, but then when you counted up men, you counted Yaqub. Then when you counted your people, you said that Yaqub and the original man was two different people. You saying that the S-U-N of man and Allah is two different people. We had a real hip hop said, "Why so much confusion? Who you think is confused?" Okay, well then, I'm gonna tell you what the issue is. I never understood your question that you asked me yesterday. Because see, you went from speaking about a man when you asked me why is Yaqub referred to as the original man. You're trying to figure out why in the lessons only Yaqub and Allah are specifically referenced as original. Well, I would say Jesus is referred to as the original man as well. But leaving that out, perhaps that's because those are the only two original men that they speak about in the lessons. There's all these negative connotations with Yaqub for making a devil, but he's specifically referenced as being successful. Where's the negative connotations of Yaqub making the devil? Yeah, I would say the private soldiers is the lowest rank. I was getting ready to get into that too, but I was dealing with this topic right here first. The sun don't chill. most successful and original. Now, this is your own prejudice. Successful and original. I mean, Officer Chauvin. I mean, you know, if you paying attention to the last post, like if you look at this point, 19. And when you say that he's referred to as original, I mean, unless his parents is white, that's what we call original. Yeah, you're gonna have to go back and listen because I'm not sure which bits and pieces that you're missing. You can learn a lot from the principles that was. You know, some guys and how you gonna understand about Yaqub, right? You haven't learned about his law. You haven't learned about what he promised his nation he would do, like all the different things that's in those degrees, right? That you seen come to full fruition. But the thing is, you haven't seen those degrees. Like if Yaqub set out to separate the brown germ from the black germ and grafted it into white, right? What part of history that you know, that you see every day when you walk outside, what part of that would make wasn't born to grit? Yeah, Jammy Jam, I don't know. He's buffering at a high rate, so I mean, I you know, I just don't understand. Like, okay, if you didn't use the word successful, what word would you use to describe how Yakub came out in his endeavors. Like, would you say Yakub was unsuccessful? Yeah, I saw that one too, Asiatic mathematics. I don't know what he meant by that either. I was wondering, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. Even though I'm kind of down the rabbit hole right now with Jammy Jam, because I'm not, it's kind of just lost on me what he's saying. I'm not understanding. There's a lot of levels to this, but it's not that complicated, man. Right, but I'm saying, when you look at life, what about when you see colored people? Like, if he set out to make colored people, and you look around and you see billions of colored people, like, it's probably about 1 billion colored people. Between, you got Europe, you got America, you got Australia, and then you got them sprinkled all over. You got like 1 billion colored people. So I'm asking you, if he set out to make colored people, you got 1 billion colored people. You got the G20, right, which is the most powerful nations on the planet right now, right? They all colored people. I just don't see where's the question of why he's referred to as successful. Like, him being referred to as successful, right? That's some of the low-hanging fruit right there. Now, I don't know if you got that or not, but I'm going to explain why it is that it's really a waste of time for me to try to explain things to you that's way over where you at. And I'm also going to demonstrate to you why you are going the hardest possible route of studying the lessons and coming to an understanding of it. Now, any of my people in here that know 120, right? All I need is the question from my high scientist, right? What's the understanding build degree? What's the question to the understanding build degree? brothers starting to get that. Don't think I ain't noticed, man. Starting to be some heavy hitters up in here, man. Everybody up in they understand the cipher degrees. Everybody up in they understand the cipher degrees in the 140. This time next month, we'll be sitting in the front row. Now look, the question to the understanding build degree is, then why did God make devil? And the question from Jam E Jam was, why is Yaqub referred to as the original man? Now, what other man could be God? Someone? Anyone? Could he then be the half original man? And we still say God made the devil? Could he be the colored man? Because then when we have to change it to the devil made the devil? See, this is simplicity in and of itself. And see, when you don't take the time to study the lessons, and then you asking me a question and you don't understand, and I'm going over and over and over this question with you, when it's simply a matter of you studying your lessons. Now look, you put it yourself. God is the original Asiatic black man. The Asiatic black man is God. Okay, so when you know that God made the devil, right? Why does it seem out of place to you that he's referred to as the original man? Saying Yaqub is devil is Dr. York science? Yeah, I don't know too much Dr. York science. It's possible. Queen Mecca. See, you know what it is? I should have known. I should have known, Queen Mecca. What you got over there? What's the what's the festivities on tap? You said because I look at the lessons, I expect to learn or gain understanding, but what lessons would I really want to learn from the father of the devil? See, then you ain't looking at the lessons. And you ain't looking at life. There's something you can learn from everything that happens. There's something you can learn from everything that happens, even if it's just what not to do. See, Queen Mecca, they keep cutting your comment out now. York, I mean, I seen them around. They was the most prominent, successful original man mentioned in the lessons is Yaqub. Okay. Well, what about Muhammad? In the 9th degree and the 10th degree. See, like we said, look, there's about 1 billion colored people. Look, there's about 1 billion Muslims. Then how are you measuring success? See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta know the lessons, man. Otherwise, you turning me into a preacher, and I'm not a preacher. The lessons didn't say he was successful specifically. So you only dealing with what you can see with the naked eye. I'm talking about every people in there. You're not paying attention. The individuals that went to go live a jungle life, even, was they successful at living a jungle life? When it says, why did Musa have a hard time civilizing the devil, it didn't say, why did Musa have a hard time failing to civilize the devil? You telling me that, when you go to downtown Minneapolis and you see all them skyscrapers up there, right? Do you think that Musa was unsuccessful at teaching them how to build a home for themselves? No, we ain't talking about the life of Muhammad that murdered the devil and studied it. We talking about in the context of 120 lessons. When it tells you that any Muslim who is successful at bringing in 4 devils received rewards. What about, look, earlier, y'all was just speaking on, CAPTAIN and LIEUTENANT. Was Elijah Muhammad successful? I'm gonna tell you something, man. Asiatic mathematics, you need to go work for Hollywood. No one else could come up with this stuff. There's got to be a payday in that. What happened? Queen Mecca, Verto Ruff said how Yaqub being the devil is Dr. York science. Well, what kind of science where you recognize the science from? Further rough. We need to do a whole show called the Anagrammatron. Just let the wordsmith go in with all his anagrams. But we have any other questions? And make sure you observe. Make sure you observe the new rules when you ask your question. Alkim Salam. This one thing about tonight's live is I feel like I'm tiptoeing through the rabbit holes. Like if it's just rabbit holes all over. And just one wrong step, I could be down the rabbit hole. On my way to who knows where. What's calm as normally? Fertile Rough asked you a question. While I'm waiting on any other questions that we might have had. Brilliant Elevation had that question. If Brilliant Elevation come in, we could get into that. So these Yaddy Mathematics, we're gonna do a whole show the Anagrammatron. I don't know what's going on with you, Queen Mecca, but I think YouTube caught up to you. Cause at first they was letting all your comments come through freely, and then all of a sudden they just started. You started getting hit. Oh, you erasing your comments on purpose. I see. What are you looking at, Real Hip Hop? I'm still waiting for you to I'm still waiting for you to let me know what high science. Does anyone know the highest science that exists? Anyone? See if y'all been learning. Anyone feel free to tell me what's the highest science that exists. Oh, that's what you gotta do for high science? Well, you go ahead and hit it, and then let me know what's the highest science that exists. That was a good one, Mecca. You caught me with my mouth open. FDJ said today's math is wisdom. I'm building on wisdom degrees. What do you mean? You building on wisdom degrees? So yeah, we got a few people here. True Self, Jam Jam, Calm Islamly, you know what I'm saying? Or mention Supreme Mathematics, which actually means most high science. We got the wordsmith in here. Wordsmith, can we get a little etymology on the word mathematics? Little etymology on the word mathematics. True Self said the highest science for the highest understanding. The highest science is all that above is caused by the Son of Man. Halftime. You know, you're mad fluid when you rhyme. It's halftime. So Real Hip Hop is trying to claim the title of wordsmith. He says late 16th century plural of obsolete mathematics from Old French mathématique, from Latin As Tom said, it's like the math that makes my eye tick. Is that the end of the is that the end of what it says there, real hip hop? Is that the end of what it says there, real hip hop? Bang, here we go. Mathematica, mathematical, and art from Greek, mathematique, from the base of mathenine, which means to learn. We got the real Syrian here. He Kareem, Jansport Posse. And like we said, the base of mathenine means to learn, right? Now, does anyone here know what science means? I see we got a couple of wordsmiths. We got a couple of wordsmiths now. What is the word for what does science mean? Meaning wisdom, knowledge, wisdom out of sight for wisdom born, instant and filled. Yeah, that's a good way. That what you just mentioned right there, FDJ Beats. That's a good way to deal with the degrees that you don't pass every day. Like, see, you don't see the understanding build degree. You understand what I'm saying? Science means knowledge. See, we got to get the wordsmith. The wordsmith has to give y'all the definition. Now look, science from Old French science, knowledge, learning, application, corpus of human knowledge. So, just honing in on what it says right here, right? It says science means learning. And it says that math comes from a root word that means to learn. mean, like I said, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment, the world of science. And so you see there, real hip hop, that the most high science is supreme mathematics. So that's why when you say to me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, different people, I guess they hear different things. But when you say to me, are we going to deal with high science? I'm under the impression you're talking about supreme mathematics. But then you mentioned some plus lessons. You know, look, you know, like I told y'all before, you know, for you to come up one way and then suggest another way for other people is like a 10% move to me. Like, if this is how you came up, why would somebody else do something different? Me personally, I didn't deal with a lot of plus lessons, you know, really until after I knew 120. You know, these things where you get bogged down, you know, with, you know, and in some cases minutia, but you know, where you get bogged down trying to know everything, trying to intellectualize everything, you understand what I mean? And what happens is you miss the point of what you actually live in. Like, what you going into is, you know, all these different things about the facts. You know, look, you're going to learn over time. You know, it's always going to be other aspects of the degree for you to study. Just like it's always going to be other aspects in life in general. But I'm saying, you know, just constantly going to, you know, plus lessons or constantly asking all these questions without applying this to your everyday life and what you're actually doing. The activities of life. And when you say you true and living, what is the activities that you partake in your life? Once you say that you did, that's where understanding is born. Cyber Divine said, just like Torah means to teach the law, it doesn't mean law like most people misinterpret it. So we need to know the etymology of language. The Kemetic compass of Ahubu. What is that? what is this Kemetic compass of Uhubu? And who's Uhubu? Are we on some type of long buffer here? What is this Kemetic compass of Uhubu? Kareem, what is this? Uh-oh. Kareem doesn't know what it is. It may not be in the database of are you sure this book was in the library at Alexandria? May not be in the human family database. That's what it is. I think I'm gonna change your name from Siri, Kareem. I think I'm gonna change your name to Spock. You gotta be Spock. Spock like on Mr. Spock from Star Trek. Kasib Shah said Ubuntu equals humanism. So the Kemetic compass of Ubuntu. I've heard of Ubuntu. There's actually a program, like if you ever get a computer that don't have an operating system on it, there's a site called or there's a program, an operating system. It's open source, so you don't have to pay for it. It's called Ubuntu. Just a little sidebar right there. Mr. Spock said all we should be focusing on is our self-Lord and Master. Real Hip Hop said it's like how the supreme mathematics coincides with the supreme alphabet in a mathematical way. Absolutely. So this is what the Kemetic compass. So in the Kemetic compass of Ubuntu, right? Which part is the math and which part is the alphabet? The hieroglyphics is both. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think how full did you make the bong? How many hits? How many hits were you able to get? So 793, you heard about that operating system before too, right? I used it a couple times. I got a couple computers that got Ubuntu on it. See, if you're a person like me that I'm kind of anti-corporate. Something like Ubuntu is good for me. But if we look at the title though for the day, 196,940,000 bong hits. See, the old real hip hop is back. In comparison, I mean, it's not as high powered, but like all the basic stuff that you need to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got their own suite of programs that go with it. So like if you got like some high powered like Final Cut Pro or something that you're doing, I don't know if you could load that on there. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of like, you need to get on the internet and just do the basic things and not be dealing with the programs that you being all monitored and everything, then yeah, it works good. Yeah, God save you divine. Don't ever suggest any greatness for the Greeks around God save you divine. Mr. Spock said, if Islam is older than the sun, moon, and stars, then there's only Islam and the watered down stuff that started 35,000 years ago. I mean, yeah, you could wipe a Mac and use Ubuntu. You could even have Ubuntu. You can like dual load that, where you can have Ubuntu and whatever other operating system on it. So wait, who's Uhubu? See, a lot of this stuff, we get into, today's title of the live, right? All wise. You know what I'm saying? What does all wise mean to y'all? Y'all got Queen Mecca. Listen, now that she's been elected as the Queen of Random Jewels, Queen Mecca participated at the highest level. Carmen Lonely said, correct application of knowledge gained. Apton said, capable of the best sense of judgment based on current knowledge. All wise is a total distinction from otherwise. Jammy Jam said, the living part of true and living. The wordsmith said, all wise is the culture, our God. I mean, these is all close to what I was getting ready to say. You know, all wise means you always do the knowledge and you base everything on the knowledge. Things that you just seen or heard in passing, you understand what I'm saying? You're always wise. You see what I'm saying? That don't mean that you always, well, see, true self said being civilized, knowing right, and doing right, you know, which means when you know better, you do better. But if you don't know better, right, then you may not be able to do better. So, you know, my point is saying, and that is saying that all wise don't mean that you know everything and you right all the time. Because see, like I said, once you get into justifying, you know, when something is wrong and you get into justifying, you've gone off the deep end. See, now you're about to become Yakub because you got a justification for doing something that was wrong. So it don't mean that you get everything right, but it does mean that if you get something wrong, right, then you take it back to the knowledge. That you deal with positive elevation, always correcting errors of men. Learn from other people. The dumbest of men never learn. You could tell them something 1,000 times, and they can fall victim to that 1,001 times. Fools do not learn. And then in the middle, you have individuals who can learn from their own mistakes, what we call trial and error. So what, you know, bringing that up right now to say that, listen, you know, all of these different things, you know, that we study, you know, well, not me, I haven't studied it, but right now we talking about the Kemetic, what is it? The Kemetic code of Ubuntu or whatever. Okay, you got to be all wise about that. You apply the most high science to it and you weigh it and judge it against the most high science. You identify what's the knowledge of this thing right here. What's the wisdom in this thing right here? What happens when it goes to born? And that, we applying it particularly right now to, you might be studying different things, you know what I'm saying? Like what the brother said, drinking from all streams or whatever. But it's also, if you getting ready to cross the street, you gotta be all wise. Because see, what happens on the one time when you're not all wise crossing the street? If you're not always wise, when you crossing the street, what's gonna happen? God Cyber Divine says, so one who is always wise, are you still searching for that does not exist? Not saying you're right all the time, just means the path you on can take it back to knowledge. But like I said, see, the other wise, right? See, because remember I said, all wise is basing, to be wise is to do the knowledge. So you're not basing things on what you heard. You're not basing things on what you believe. See, this is what the otherwise do in some cases. Queen Megan said, people think all wise is the mystery God. Expect you to know everything off top of the dome, similar to Google, but knowledge without wisdom never borns understanding. Trust me, I'm not that smart. I learned the hard way. Oh, man. You're just saying that, when you going through these different studies and you reading all these different books and everything, remember to remain all wise. Don't be easily led in the wrong direction because you're not all wise, you're not doing the knowledge. Those are the people that's easily led. It's the people that ain't doing the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Why they put blinders on the horse? Because that make them more easily led. He could read, say that's the zig and the zag to come back to the zig. Yeah, see, 793 says, see, the one time that if you're not always wise when crossing the street, and just one time you're not wise, you could be physically dead. You could be killed by the cars that's coming that you didn't do the knowledge to, that you wasn't always wise about how you did it. In all the things that you do, that's how you're always wise. That there's nothing that happens where it's like, yeah, we just blowing off steam, it's just, we just, dumbing ourselves down. Nah, the all wise don't do that. We base everything on the study, first of all, of ourselves and of all the things that's around us. You see what I'm saying? See, all the time, you see situations where they like, yo, this person never did that. Like the person, maybe they used to, maybe they used to take certain drugs. And the person would be like, yeah, well, when they take those drugs, they never drink because it's dangerous. Yeah, but on this one time that they decided not to do things based on that knowledge and wisdom, they OD. We all could think of times when we knew what was the knowledge and wisdom, and we tried to cut that corner. We wasn't all wise. You know what I'm saying? Or we all have a situation where you get into, and then you find out, you know what I'm saying, all right, the trader disappeared. In whatever individual situation you're dealing with. So you wasn't all wise about what was going on with the transaction. You didn't base things on knowledge. You might base it on the emotion of, you know what I'm saying, he seemed like a good person or something. And it's the same thing with anything that you reading, anything you studying, the cover of the book looked nice. Or the language was flowery, or I saw the person speaking on Inf Mega Channel. Nah, you still got to be all wise about that. Will somebody come and get the wordsmith? Al-Kim Salam said using Ubuntu with the Taliban destroyed many so-called African civilizations. True Self said, I look both ways, even crossing a one-way street. And you know what's funny? You got to do that now in New York because they got so much people riding bikes. So see, as a New Yorker, yeah, you kind of, you that way where even if I'm crossing the street, even if it's a two-way street, first I'm looking to the left because this is where I expect the traffic to be coming from on the side when I first step in the street. And then I'm checking to the right because I know that traffic is going to hit me a little bit later if I step out into the street. But see, now you got somebody be riding a bike right there. So, that's another crazy thing. But see, you got to be all wise, meaning you can't just cross the street how you crossed the street 25 years ago, because now is new information out there. Information meaning things that you are observing that's coming towards you and moving away from you. You analyzing all this different information, to know how fast to walk, when to stop, when to go. So now that bike being in the atmosphere, this is other information now that you need to analyze, right? In order to be all wise about crossing the street. Brother Ruff said, then why did God make devil? You spoke on that. We spoke on that a while ago. Are you just catching up to us in the stream? Sayyid said, Khalid Muhammad said, you can go into the Bible a fool and come out an even bigger fool because you never had a foundation and knowledge of being all wise. Symbol, I don't understand what this is. The symbol here with the eyes. So Kareem said, now you see, I just said Islam is older than the sun, moon, and stars. So there's only Islam. Ubuntu means humanity and speaks of a universal brotherhood, which is nothing more than Islam. Mr. Green once said, all wise know the ledge first. I think Mr. Spock brings up a good point right there too. You got to do the knowledge to things that's in the realm of 7 and things that's in the realm of 6. What's in the heavens above and what's in the earth below. It's like when you deal with law, you got the universal laws of supreme mathematics, right? And then, you got codes and statutes, that's given out by the city that says, if you park here, we give you a $150 ticket. One set of laws is in 7, and one set of laws is in 6. Well, just like the brother was saying in terms of being successful. You understand what I'm saying? You can have success in the realm of 7, and or, some people is able to enjoy both, but you got a lot of people, if you look around, where you will see that they successful in the realm of 7, but not in the realm of 6, and some vice versa. So you could also get caught up with that, And don't get me wrong, I understand the sentiment that they mean, and I agree with it. Anything that the mind can achieve, anything that the mind can conceive, the body can achieve. Is some limitations there, because the body can't go past 6. So see, in that instance, sometimes you gotta realize, what's the difference between 7 and 6. A lot of times that difference is going to be the amount of steps you got to take in the realm of 6 to manifest that idea that you're predicting from the realm of 7. God said, the mind said, the heavens above and the earth below are concepts of man in the physical. God from the higher self doesn't experience day and night because the sun never goes down, only to it being on earth. Now, that's only if you're looking at the heavens above, right, as physical. See what I'm saying? The heavens above is really talking about this. Like I said, it's talking about the realms of 7 and 6. Meaning, we guide in the heavens above, and this is what we know, and we can verbally express it, right? But we also able to make the word flesh. You understand what I'm saying? We able to make word life and live it out right here on the earth below as well. You understand what I'm saying? True indeed. Because when we dealing with, let's say we just dealing with the physical aspect, right? Then the earth is not really below. Like you said, if we just only taking it on the face value of the physical concept, when we look in the sky, you know what I'm saying, because of our physical composition and the way we situated, we gotta look like this. So everything seems like it's up. But in reality, the earth is in the midst of all that stuff. The earth is not below it. It's not like all the other planets is at this elevation right here, and the planet Earth is at this elevation down here. They all together. So the earth is one of the heavenly bodies as well. We in heaven right now. Just like we in hell right now. So that's, how you have to be able to draw that up to see that when they say the heavens above, they're not talking about, up in the clouds where the magical color man lives, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying, Mercury, Mars, Pluto, they're not talking about that. They're talking about this. But we got any other questions, man? We had a good live. Plus I gotta go get me some God degrees. New York. You should be able to get some food at any time of night. Still can. I just need a light snack though. Yeah, the brothers, Mr. Green One and God Cyber Divine is dealing with other ways that you manifest these worlds, of above and below, as within, as without, inside and outside, as above, so below, that's called, real hip hop. Real hip hop was bringing up the Kemetic sciences. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that in the principles, they have something called a law of correspondence. And the law of correspondence is dealing with, the heavens above and the earth below as well. Knowledge Born, I heard from Knowledge Born a minute ago. I had called him right before I went live, but he didn't answer. Justice came in the building. You mostly, you might have to catch on the rerun, Justice. We've been a little bit all over the place. He Kareem has a new name. I don't know if you know about that. He Kareem is Mr. Spock now. And oh yeah, and Queen Mecca is the queen of random Jews. She was voted the queen of random Jews in the first hour. So you didn't get a chance to get your absentee ballot. I don't know, you need to I don't know if you need to talk to the postmaster about that. What you mean no, Queen Mecca? We already it's too late. You can't withdraw your candidacy now. It's too late. You might as well call you Mecca Trump now. Speaking of that, where's real hip hop? Real hip hop. Have you noticed that Trump has been gaining in the polls? I haven't really paid attention, but the couple of glimpses of the news that I've seen, looks like Trump is picking up steam. Oh, that was gunshots, son. That was straight gunshots. God Save Divine. God Save Divine said Kamala Harris Mecca. Those could be fighting words. You know, Queen Mecca is from the South. Asiatic mathematics. Now, me personally, Asiatic mathematics, I count the changing of the days at sunrise. So for me, it's still the wisdom day. Oh man, another young brother got shot again at sunrise. Let me see if I can see this. This is getting. But did you see? There's a documentaries right now. A brother sent me. There's a documentary. It's actually a series of documentaries where speaking on how and they was presenting all of the evidence that they had to prove that she actually was a part of this cartel or whatever. don't see it. You said it's on my son's channel? Oh, on his Instagram. When yeah, did you know that if you just put black man SH in Google, that black man shot would just come up? Like if you just put black man, that's when you know something is popular. When you don't have to type the whole thing into Google and it already gives you the full suggestion. That's crazy. Oh, somebody got shot in Los Angeles? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies fatally shot Dijon Kizzy, a 29-year-old black man, during a confrontation Monday afternoon in South LA, sparking protests at the scene. The sheriff's department says that about 3:15 p.m. local time, two deputies tried to stop Kizzy, who was riding a bicycle in violation of vehicle codes. Riding a bicycle in violation of vehicle codes. When they approached him, he got off the bicycle and ran. Sheriff's Lieutenant Brandon Dean told reporters that deputies caught up to the suspect about a block away. When they approached him, the man punched one of the deputies in the face and dropped items of clothing he had been carrying. It was at that point deputies noticed that inside the clothing items he dropped was a black semi-automatic handgun, and that's when both deputies opened fire, shooting the man several times. Guess he had some crack sprinkled on him. The man, later identified by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner Coroner's Office as Kizzy, was pronounced dead at the scene. An autopsy is scheduled for Tuesday. Neither deputy was injured. Activist Najee Ali, who is representing the family as his attorney Ben Crump, denies that Kizzy was a threat at the time of the shooting. Being in possession of a gun but actually using a gun, having it in your hands, are two different things. He did not point the gun at officers. Dean said the deputies have yet to be interviewed and were now wearing body cameras, which are not set to be rolled out until the fall. So, but I see here that I see here though that Jeremy Jam said it's DRK in DC. Okay, so this is Southeast Washington from the Washington Post. A D.C. officer shot and killed a young man Wednesday afternoon in Southeast Washington's Congress Heights neighborhood. The incident occurred shortly before 4 p.m. in the 200 block of Orange Street, Southeast. Relatives identified the person killed as Dion K., who turned 18 last month. He lived with his mother about a half a mile from where he was shot. Police late Wednesday said the encounter began when officers responded to the report of a man with a gun and came upon several people in and around the vehicle. They said two of those people ran, one of them displayed a firearm, and an officer fired in response. Two city officials who viewed police body camera video of the incident said at least two officers approached the vehicle in a parking lot and a foot chase began. As one officer ran past the vehicle, the officers said the footage shows K pulling a gun from his waist. The officials said the officer fired, appearing to strike K in the chest. Some people near the shooting scene questioned the police account. On Wednesday night, a few dozen demonstrators, including some of K's family members, converged at the 7th District Police Station. Officers using bicycles as barriers pushed a crowd of people, many of them angry and emotional, away from station doors. Omar Jackson, a youth mentor who had worked with K for the past 2 years, said the young man was trying to navigate through this chaotic situation out here. He said K had just gotten into a high school equivalency program. Jackson said K liked to spend time with his girlfriend and play sports, and he took care of his nieces and nephews. He said K's mother was planning to move out of the area because it had gotten rough. He was trying to get himself together and get out of this situation. I feel bad. My job is to keep him out of situations like that. Man, 18 years old. Yeah, you know, that's going to be the elephant in the room for a long time. Uh, that's going to be the elephant in the room for a long time. You know, dealing with, uh, you know, the kid that shot the people in Kenosha, and you know he walked towards the police, you know, with the gun, and people walking behind him yelling that he just shot some people, and you know the police didn't even seek to have any interaction with him. You know what I'm saying? And you know, in the meantime, you know, the first story I read was, you know, somebody was riding their bike, you know, and apparently, you know, the whatever vehicle safety laws or whatever, he wound up dead. You know, and then this other situation where, you know, sounds a little bit Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? The cops roll up on the car and dudes is by the car and they running every which way, pulling guns out, you know. So I guess that's the new thing now. You know, they gonna find a way where everybody now that gets shot by the cops will have displayed a gun. Why, as you said, Rochester, New York, there's a case of a mentally ill man being choked out. Mm. Yeah, that's, man. These stories is, and then it's one of those things too with the confirmation bias. You know what I'm saying? Where like now, the news as well as the public is hyper aware of these situations. All on the business. All on the business. We was just reading about the brother in LA that apparently he was riding his bike illegally. He was riding his bike against the codes, and he wound up getting shot by the police. And also with this situation in DC, that sounds a little bit Hollywood. Brother wound up losing his life over there. You ain't been on in a little minute. That's one of the things we've been discussing though, in terms of the current events, is how a lot of that energy, you know what I'm saying, that existed, for the first part of the year, not necessarily just the individual things, but the energy and the unity that existed amongst the people appears to have curtailed now, man. Wait, who got shot 27 times in the back? The brother in California got shot 27 times? A colored woman pulled a burner on the original woman, talking about she felt threatened, and if an original woman was even... When did this happen? See, I told you I locked myself out today. And my phone was locked in, everything was locked in, so I'm totally out of the loop, really, for yesterday and today. The brother in Los Angeles, they shot him 27 times. I think they need a Feds magazine for the police. Like, I don't know what they gonna call it, but you got dudes that's doing life in jail right now, right? That ain't let off 27 shots in their whole crime career, and they doing life now. That is some of the most heinous killers that you heard of didn't let off 27 shots in their entire crime career. not at a person. Maybe doing they target practice, you shooting at lights, and street lights and that type of thing. But to me, that's one of them things. Like, there's some things that be like that. Like, you ever be watching, or you watch it from the outskirts, a trial go on, right? And it's like, yo, I don't know if the people on the different juries, which that's LA, so maybe, who knows? But I'm saying it all depends on where they get the person from. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, like, has a person ever heard an amount of shots going off? Now, not 2 or 3 shots. I'm talking about when you hear in the mind, so that in your mind you understand what this what's happening, what's going on. Like if a person say, they fired 27 shots. Or I don't know, he said 27, they fired 27 or he got hit with 27. See, that's another question right there too. But just saying that when 27 shots go off, hey, listen, even in a war situation, when you watch it on TV, they shoot. That's not how they shoot in the real army. In the real army, they shoot. When they actually see something to shoot, they don't just be fired in the bush. You waste up your bullets like that. So that's what I'm saying, like, kind of the reality of 27 shots going off. Do people, when it goes to the grand jury, right? When it goes to the grand jury, do they realize what that's like? Or see, look, he said he got hit with 27. Now he looked like a big guy. He looks like a big guy. Most people, and I don't know, maybe he got some superpowers, maybe he do martial arts, I don't know. Most people is going down, let's give it 10 shots. Let's say 10 shots. So all of the business is saying that the brother had actually gotten away, and they doubled back and continued searching for him. And then when they pulled him out of wherever he was hiding, that's when he got shot. LA County Sheriff's is under whistleblower investigation now. Right, you talking about this crash, the gang unit. I was getting ready to ask you that in terms of, because I've seen it presented from them, from the actual cops. You know what I'm saying? Where, I saw a program one day, and they was talking about some of the tactics that the cops was using in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And they had these one officers, and they was like, nah, that wasn't us, man. That was LAPD, man. We comped it. You know what I'm saying? this situation that we talk about right now is not funny, but I'm just saying that the LA County, is that the particularly bad police force that, uh, is that the particular one that, they got a more extensive history of this kind of thing? Oh, 793rd. You saw the program I'm talking about, right? In the program, the police, they asked them, what was they asking them? 793. I think they was asking them about if you ever watch, uh, the LA. I guess they kind of journey through crime fighting and everything, right? They were saying that they always show this tank. Like there's a tank that they drive into the neighborhood and they start crashing into the sides of houses and breaking down walls. And the interviewer was asking the cops about that, like, yo, what about that? And the officer said, that's that Rampart shit. Like, that's not us. Which one? So LA County, that's Daryl Gates. Is it? I'm asking. Is that Daryl Gates? Not now, but I'm saying historically. Man. And I mean, like I said, one of the major factors for me, you know what I'm saying, and because like I said, all these people, they're gonna have crack sprinkled on them. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that, all on the business, is that, it stemmed from a joke. It was a joke that Dave Chappelle told a lot of years ago, where he was saying, how come every time when black people die, it's always drug related? You know what I'm saying? That, it almost seemed like every time a black person died, that the cops sprinkle a little crack on them. Then it's just drug related, and then of course now we don't have to investigate like that. You know what I mean? First of all, in the minds of a lot of society, now this person's life is worth less. You know what I'm saying? And just the things that we could say about it, make it so that we don't have to. Yeah, my dude Michael Johnson. See, look, we ain't gonna talk about Michael Johnson. I don't even know what the word is. That don't really have to do with our hotepness. Okay, so Crash is the name of the LAPD gang unit. But so what I was saying is that with a lot of these situations now, like kind of the narrative has been changing. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of these events. like George Floyd, at this point right now, they saying that he didn't die from being choked. He died from fentanyl. You know what I'm saying? Breonna Taylor, they're saying that, she was one of the main players in a whole drug cartel. She associated with thugs. You know what I'm saying? And drug dealers. And her boyfriend shot at the police. You know what I'm saying? With Ahmaud Arbery, I've seen different footage of him shoplifting. You know what I mean? And another one where he was, somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. It was like a park, so I guess it's hard to say it's trespassing, but he's supposedly trespassing over there. And it's also some footage of him, like in the parking lot. He got cuffed, so I don't know if he ended up ultimately getting arrested, but it was supposed to be for shoplifting. You know what I'm saying? The other brother in Atlanta, of course, he already had the situation where he was fighting with police and then he pointed the taser at them. You know what I'm saying? So all of these situations is, they kind of morphing into the same old stories. You know what I'm saying? And then when I read these two stories today, both guys kind of conveniently, I guess convenient is not the right word, but, and even with the other brother, the brother in Kenosha, it started off, he was trying to break up a fight, then it moves to, he had a warrant for sexual assault, he had a knife in his hand. So, all of these different kind of aggravating, or mitigating circumstances, depending on if you're looking from the perspective of the person or the cop, it kind of makes me wonder what kind of justice is going to be seen. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, on the one hand, I always like to point out that it's not so much each individual situation and what happened in that situation. It's about how different people in different neighborhoods are policed. You know what I'm saying? The way, the law enforcement is applied to them. You know what I mean? So, like we just spoke on the elephant in the room, the kid who shot the protesters in Kenosha, right? And then walked right past the police with his AK-47 or whatever, AR-15, still swinging on his side. And I mean, it wasn't that far away. It's a high-powered rifle, so I'm sure y'all heard those shots. People was running behind him yelling that he just shot some people, and apparently he walked right past them and then went home. Knowledge stay in Kenosha like every night, man. All on the business said Rampart Division was the dirtiest unit in LA history. That's sure. Oh, Suge Knight's homeboys, David Mack in jail, not for a bank heist, and Rafael Perez turned rat. They both got acquitted for setting up Biggie's murder. Supreme Crow, welcome to the channel, Supreme Crow. Tap that like button for me. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. All in the business said Amir Muhammad was the said hired gunman. He was acquitted too. all in the business said gun or dope, because that's the only penal codes they know. That's their degrees. They even ask you if you got guns or dope. If not, they let you go. God Savage Divine said George Floyd and Breonna Taylor are modern day martyrs, not so much as what their belief, or not so much as their beliefs, but born you truth, what their particular death stood for. Now, and this is the part what I've been saying the whole time. In order for them to really be martyrs, right, we got to do something. Like the people, you know, some change has to be made. Like there has to, you know, even if change is not made, there has to be a group of people that's, you know, using that as, you know, inspiration or whatever for whatever cause that they dealing with. But that's what I'm saying. It appears that, you know, the cause is kind of being swept by the wayside. So where, like I said, you know, a lot of this right now is not about police brutality, right? It's about, is LeBron playing tonight? You know, are we going to be able to watch baseball today? You know, and so it's about us keeping in mind that, like I said, it's not just about these individual situations. It's about, you know, how quick, right, does an officer resort to the weaponry? You see what I'm saying? It's about, you see, the officers that looked at the brother in LA, right? When they saw him riding his bike, I don't know where he was riding it or whatever, but see, they look at that and they like, all right, something's out of place about this dude. There's something out of place about this dude. We don't like the cut of his jib. We're going to have to see what he got on him. And at the same time, you know what I'm saying? They looked at the white boy walking down the street, right, with an AR on his side, but that didn't look out of place to them. Just hold on for a second. You're not under arrest, but we just going to ask you some questions. You know, we should hold on. Let's just make sure. You know, we just want to make sure for everybody's safety. We want to make sure you're safe. So you stay right here for a second while we see what's going on. And what I'm saying is that kind of it's like a mentality, an attitude. You know what I'm saying, about what you could do. There's a documentary, right, about the Bronx in the gang eras, you know, back in the 70s. And in one of the first scenes of the documentary, there's an officer, right? And he's talking about how when he first came out of the academy, he had a good job. That he was like, you know, I was in an area where there was no crime really, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we basically was just out there writing parking tickets. And then he says, yeah, but you know, I wanted more action. That's the way he said, I wanted more action. So when he says that, next thing, they show him at the gun range shooting. You know what I'm saying? He's working on his aim. And then the next thing, they show him riding around in the Bronx. So just showing you the type of person and the type of mentality they bring in to the job when they work in the precinct that's in our neighborhood as opposed to the attitude that they take to a place where now we just writing tickets out here. The difference in the attitude and how they see the people is the difference in these situations where, you know, like now we at the point where this is something I think that needs to be brought out. And not that it has never been brought out, but it needs to be emphasized. That at a certain point, we're not asking you if these people did crimes or not. What we saying is that the crimes that they was committing, the death penalty is not even on the table. It's not even in consideration. You know, for somebody riding a bike a certain kind of way, you know, I don't know if he's riding against traffic, whatever it might be. You know, for somebody selling cigarettes. You know, look, for somebody getting in a fist fight. You know, somebody got a warrant for their arrest. These things is not worthy of the death penalty. And what I'm saying is that until that is understood, that if we just said, okay, if we just went to an encounter, like I don't know if they have this statistic, but if you go to an encounter, right, how long does it take an officer to touch his weapon? See, because, you know, all in the business out in LA, I'm sure they experience that same thing. You know, out here in New York, sometimes when the police walks up on you, he already got his stick in one hand and his gun in the other hand. It's still in the holster, but his hands is already placed on the weapons. I wonder how long it takes for that to happen in other communities. Like in New York, if you've been in New York for a long time, right? There used to be cops that was mad nice with their nightstick. Like the nightstick had like a string on it, like a leather strap. And there was cops that used to be twirling the nightstick. I'm talking about crazily. They twirling it like Bruce Lee with the nunchucks. And they actually had to stop the police from doing that, because even, you know, the system realized that, dude, you intimidating the people right now. But you never saw them doing that in certain neighborhoods. Like if you ever been, you know, depending on how deep you listen, even the way they treat the victims, even the way they treat the victims is different in our community than it is in other communities. Yeah, cut sleeves, that's it. Flying cut sleeves. Yeah, they've released some more footage of well, I don't know when they released it. I just saw it. You know what I mean? I saw some more footage now that it appears to be from the time they first approached George Floyd at the car. All these other things, they're using, the stuff that's in the other footage, that's all a part of the cop's defense case. Now, as the said, the officer touches his weapon also immediately as some type of safety mechanism or safety valve. 793rd said Devon, understanding Bourne had a bill about that where his family, who was military, had to call that out to the police on the stop. Like, what are you doing? That's something that happens quite a lot in New York, at least, where military people, have been having to tell the police, like, listen, I just came back from fighting a war so that people can have certain rights, and right now, you taking those rights away in a very, very aggressive manner. Yeah, right. That's what. Yeah, now they switched to the little metal, the martial arts batons. It's they vicious with it. God savvy Devon said I had a gun pointed to the back of my head when I was a teenager without any provocation. I always saw that as normal interactions with police. Right, all on the business. Said, a lot of them, that's their mentality. As soon as you make a move, one false move, the cops is serious about that. When they say, freeze, I'll blow your head off. One false move. Yeah, I seen pregnant women get beat down by the police. Somebody asked a question up here. I missed it. God Savvy Devon said we had this bill before. What is change? Is it revolution or evolution from a particular paradigm? I don't know if evolution is gonna work. I don't know so much about the inherent goodness of people, you know what I'm saying? The Ubuntu, dealing with all of society, You know what I'm saying? You know, some things can evolve, but you know, there's gotta be a seed there. You know what I mean? That's what evolution is about. You know what I mean? Seeds being planted and developing in certain ways. You understand what I mean? You know, the seed of the system, you know what I'm saying, includes violence against us. That's at the very root of the system. You know what I'm saying? For them to survive off of us and our oppression. You know what I mean? So can it evolve? You know, it would first have to evolve into a system where we wasn't you know, chattel, we wasn't the product, we wasn't the capital. You know what I'm saying? You know, the capital meaning the money and the property, the tools, the equipment that people use to make money. You know what I'm saying? And so that would be the first thing that would have to evolve so that it could just bring about change within this same system. Supreme Crow said, how do you feel about young rappers, artists overdosing or being killed due to lack of protection? The overdosing, you know, my particular understanding of it is that you got a younger generation out here now, right? That they only heard about the crack era on records. You know, they might have seen the dope era on a movie, you know, Superfly or something. You understand what I'm saying? But for the people who was a part firsthand, you know what I'm saying, of the crack era, the dope era, you know, taking a certain amount of drugs, a certain level of drugs is not really a part of what they're going to do because they've already seen all the experiments they need to see with drugs. You see what I'm saying? And so there's always going to be that kind of aversion. But, you know, when you deal with a younger generation who they didn't really experience that, so they was a little bit more willing to start partaking in these drugs. You know what I'm saying? Be on drugs. You know what I mean? Because the drug, like now, you know, dudes take pills or whatever, but at that time, the drug of, you know, kind of, you know, choice or, you know, the drug that was prevalent was crack. You know what I'm saying? So being a crackhead wasn't cool. So it was never anything, but you know, now you got individuals that you growing up and the people that you watching take the drugs now, they are cool. And so, you know, you got a different people. Now, when you say they're being killed due to lack of protection, I don't know if I agree with the lack of protection part. You know what I'm saying? What I will say is, you know, kind of on the same level, you know, brothers is getting too caught up in that culture, you know what I'm saying, of, you know, gang life and killing and being a killer and all these different things. And, you know, you ask in particular about rappers and artists, you know, they're not reaching the level of maturity to see when you should stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got some dudes that are doing more dirt in the music industry after they make money than they did when they was in the projects dead broke. Like when you was in the projects dead broke, you never carried a gun. You never sold, you hung around or whatever. You might have dabbled or something, but you was nowhere near the guy you became once you got into the rap game. See, because one thing about a whole lot of money. See, a whole lot of money and social media is two things that allow you to be whoever you want to pretend to be. You got a whole lot of money, or you on social media, you can pretend to be whoever you want. And so I don't know if it's so much the lack of protection, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not, sure what you mean. I mean, because these guys, they got gangs and all the things of that nature. It's a lack of knowledge on how to move. Yeah, I've seen a couple times when something like that happened too, where the police approached somebody and they had their hand on their gun and the person said something about it, because they're not supposed to be doing that. All right, now see, all in the business, you expanding the topic out now. You expanding the topic out now to the things, that make it more of a movement. You know what I'm saying? That's when you become a martyr. You know what I'm saying? When the movement that kind of grows, the movement that's inspired by your death is bigger than you. It's bigger than what happened when you died. You see what I'm saying? So all in the business, he's saying, okay, yeah, he was on drugs, but then now that, by extension, that could easily flow into another can of worms. Well, what are these drugs doing here? You know what I'm saying? How are they getting into our neighborhood at these cheap prices? Business said it's at the point where we think we're blessed if we don't get effed up by the police. And how is not getting whipped or killed a blessing? The oppression gets that thick. God Devon says, so if we still living out the system of class, then we still living out the 8th degree and 1 and 14s. We still apart from the social equality. Absolutely. And we got the caste system, we got the caste system within us too. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about particularly dealing with class. Whether it's economic or through some other ways, whether it's light skin, dark skin, whatever it is, yeah. Wait, hold up. Oh, people do seem to invest in crime more after fame. So, oh, Jim Jones is a prime example. You saying of somebody who probably did more dirt, once he was a rapper, and yeah, there's lots of people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that much about Jim Jones as an individual. You know what I'm saying? He definitely is a person who he glorified the gang life. You know what I'm saying? And in his era, when they was coming out, different people was coming out with gangs, there wasn't being consequences. Now, don't get me wrong, I know they had the gang unit, I'm sure brothers got arrested a few times and all that, but I'm talking about people getting all this time like Treyway got. You understand what I mean? So then it became very glamorous. You know what I'm saying? It's not like right now where it's like, yeah, you have a little run, but then like you said, a lot of these brothers is getting killed now. So if you young and you out there, you know what I'm saying, and you looking at, okay, what's the different ways that I could be successful? You know what I'm saying? They may not look at that type of route like that. To me, that's another part of the moral hazard with 6ix9ine. You know what I'm saying? Is that, okay, now you never paid for any of this stuff that you did, really. So now, whoever's next up behind this person, you know what I'm saying? Like, see, Nas is a great lyricist. Jay-Z, these different people, they deal with lyrics because the people that came before them, the Rakims, the Big Daddy Kanes, the Coogee Raps, they was lyrical. So when you looking up to those people and you like, okay, well, how did they get success? They got success by honing their craft a certain kind of way. Then that's what you want to do. You understand what I'm saying? But you gotta realize that the examples that they've been having of a 6ix9ine who goes from you a regular kid to now you a gang member and then you on top of the world. You know what I'm saying? Or, even a 50 Cent, you know what I'm saying? Who, you get into all these statics and, you talking all this smoke, you get shot up, and then you on top of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, people look at the examples of success that they see out there. Just like we were saying yesterday, for the most part, when somebody makes it legally, they leave the neighborhood. So the little kids that's coming up behind them, they don't see this person who's an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. Who they see being successful, right, is the criminals. And so it inspires them to go into that way of life. You know what I'm saying? And that's fairly new. Like you could go back in time and you find people that, they was about that business before they made it famous. But it was like at one time, you got involved with the music game or acting or whatever to escape a certain life. on the business says some use the crime money to invest back in music. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. You know, it still provides the same example though. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, to a certain degree, it is what you know, because you know when a person is doing it, but you know they got their head screwed on. You know what I'm saying? Correctly. You know, then they may be able to do that. You know, you able to capitalize. Look, in a way, you know, it's nothing out of the ordinary about that. You understand what I'm saying? You know, a lot of fortunes. You know, when I say fortune, I'm talking about, you know, people that got a lot of money. A lot of fortunes started off from crime. And then that money was invested into education, into businesses, whatever it might have been. But, you know, what I'm seeing for the most part with the people that's getting killed and stuff is that now they not having that side of things is not. Supreme Court said gangs tried to be their own nations at one point, but even the gangs strayed away from their own laws. There's some jewels in that, what you just said. $793 said after Pac, Marilyn Santana, and a couple of these talented actors who gravitated to focus on running around the streets, they didn't when younger, became a sad trend. Yeah. And you know, before them, you had, what's my man's name? He was out there in LA too, all on the business. Like he was rolling with some real dudes. Todd Bridges from Different Strokes, which he had a little bit different story from what I recall than a lot of what's going on now. But he was somebody who was like, yo, you know, you already made it. You know, you doing this so that you don't have to do that no more. And now it seems like some people is getting into the music game so you could do your crime thing on a higher level. He career. Why you gonna point out that Todd Bridges is a crackhead, man? That was still the early '80s when nobody knew what crack was. Look, don't say crack. Say crackle. Doesn't sound so bad. Crack is such a harsh word. Say crackle. Yeah, say smoke a little bass. Say crackhead. You smoke a little bass. Alright? The hardest working man in South Jamaica, Queens. He's gotta go get prepared. The mayor of DC, the bitch set me up. That was the most famous line for about 25 years. And you get caught in the crack house. First thing you say is, the bitch set me up. You know, for a long time, I used to wonder what was wrong with the people in D.C., man. And why do y'all keep voting for this crackhead? But over time, what I found out is that before he smoked crack, he was a serious, activist. He got to where he was, his spot in DC, man, for really looking out for the people. You know what I'm saying? And he had that shortcoming, but apparently he never shitted on the people of DC. You know what I'm saying? Like, the level to which he fought for freedom, justice, and equality, that legacy was stronger. Right, 793rd put it right here. Legacy of Marion literally got crack sprinkled on it. So that people forget all those things that he did before that. But Marion Barry wasn't no joke. Marion, I gotta see this. Marion Barry got a documentary. Is it on YouTube? Because the stuff that I seen, it wasn't like very extensive, but it was like old footage of him being at whatever different types of meetings, you know what I'm saying, and speaking up very strongly for freedom, justice, and equality for original people. But Mr. Spock, it wasn't, listen, everybody was smoking crack back then. If you was over a certain age, look, in New York, if you was born between 1955 and 1965, you probably smoked crack. I'm dead ass. If you know anybody from New York, right, that was born between those years, just ask them. You ever tried crack before? That's the crack generation. But like I said, don't say crack, say crackle. Gangs in Hollywood. Nah, man, you gotta say crackle, man. This crack is harsh. It's crackle. Yeah, like snap, crackle, pop. Yeah, I gotta check it out. This Marion Barry, what's her name? Marion Barry. Like, see, we was just talking about a lot of people who, at the end of civil rights, they went and, formed that alliance where, it wasn't beneficial for original people. Apparently Marion Barry wasn't down with that. You know who else was a bugged out cat? The dude from Detroit. What's his name? I want to say Sterling. Brown skinned guy with an afro. That was the mayor of Detroit in the early 70s. All on the business said a lot of stars been extorted and forced into things in the name of gambling, drugs, and protection. Yeah, that's another factor. You know what I'm saying? But with that, that's still one of them things where you kind of dabbling. You know what I'm saying? Like you dabbling. You Coleman Young, that's his name. Coleman Young was a funny cat, man. You ever see a Coleman Young interview? Coleman Young straight cursing everything, man. National. Oh yeah, Sharp James. Sharp James from Newark. Hey, listen, 793. You remember Sharp James? It was like 2005 or something. When Sharp James left office? Right, see, this is what I'm saying right here. All in business says some of the most popular people who were entertainers in LA only run with gangs because they owe them money. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you was trying to dabble in that life somehow. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how you ended up being extorted, because you had a proximity with these people. But when did Sharp James leave office? I seem to recall it was like 2005 or something like that. When did Sharp James? Hold on, let's Google Sharp James. I got a little bit of trivia. All right, so yeah, Sharp James left office in 2006, right? Did y'all know that in 2006, when Sharp James left office, that the city of Newark didn't even have computers? Like the databases, like you know how you know in normal cities in 2006 when you got arrested, they type your name in the computer and all of that, and everything comes up automatic. Not Newark. Sharp James was a character. All of the business said not gangs from Hollywood, but gangs in Hollywood. Amen. They getting they lean on. Leaning on cats with money. But yeah, this has been a good live. We've been on a considerable amount of time. Which is cool because y'all know tomorrow is Sunya's time to do what he does, and he does it at a very high level. Did y'all know I had my subscribers is up? But like I said, everybody who, like I always say, everybody who made it this far in the live stream with me, Do the each one, teach one, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Like I said, tune in tomorrow, Sunya 7. You will be seeing Sunya's building in his class. Then Friday, I'll be back in the pocket. In the meantime, shout out to the new queen of Random Jews channel. You know what I'm saying? Peace to all the people who came in. We had some of the originators that's been rocking with me from the beginning. Had a couple new people come in. Shout out to all of y'all, the gods, the earths, people from other nations who, just do the knowledge and show their wisdom by being quiet. And I will see, perhaps I might come on early if I get a chance, but that'll be on Instagram. You know what I mean? We might do a short run over on Instagram. Other than that, I'll see y'all on Friday.